Hey guys, welcome back. Now if you're looking for a quick and easy dinner full of flavor and slightly sophisticated, then this creamy Dijon mustard chicken is for you. Let me show you how. We're going to begin by first cooking the chicken. So I'm going to use some olive oil. You can use butter, you can use vegetable oil or any other oil is fine, but don't use any flavor oil. There's a lot of flavor in the dish anyway, so you want to keep your oil as neutral as possible. You're going to slightly warm up the oil. I don't want to make the oil too hot, just about warm. And the best way to check if the oil is warm enough is literally by putting your palm just over the oil to try and feel the heat. So if you feel the heat in your palm, it means the oil is just about warm enough. Yeah, that is just about warm enough. In this I'm going to add some chopped garlic. This is a very simple one pot dish, something which I've enjoyed cooking over the years. It's just the flavors and the combination for me which works extremely well with this dish. And the best part is it's all one pot. So you put it all together, it cooks together, and you can serve it either into a pot or transfer it to a bowl. But it's just nice to have something which is quite rustic and simple. Although when I say rustic and simple, it has got the rustic flavors, but it is quite complex in the way it is made. So garlic is just being slightly softened. I don't need to color the garlic, just on the medium heat. Just going to lightly saute the garlic, and in this I will then add my chicken breast. So I've got cleaned fillets of chicken breast. They go in, and as they go in to sear in the heat, I'm trying to seal it from the edges. So when I seal them from the edges, all the juices are going to be retained inside the poultry. Then goes in rosemary. Rosemary is one herb which I really love. It is very aromatic, has such a rich, earthy kind of a flavor. It goes extremely well with chicken and the other ingredients. And other ingredients I'm going to use are actually going to be sliced mushrooms, spinach and mustard, some of my favorites. So I'm going to lightly rub that on the chicken and literally put them into the pan. I want the heat of the oil from the pan to actually also get flavored by the rosemary. The heat helps the rosemary to release its flavors into the dish. And if you look closely, I've kept them with the stalks on. The reason for that is once the dish is made, I can remove the stalks and discard it altogether. Or if you really like the rosemary flavor and want to eat it, you can also chop them very finely and add it to the dish. But the stalks have a lot of flavor in them. So when you have such a strong flavored stalk of the leaves, don't really lose them or waste them. Use them in a cooking. They only helps to add more flavor into the dish. I'm going to lightly season it with salt at this stage. So all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cook the chicken on the edges from the bottom, and if you see the edges, they're beginning to turn white. So that actually tells me that the chicken is cooking from the bottom. And once it reaches almost, I would say, halfway through, we flip it over to cook on the second side. So what happens is you get even cooking on each side of the poultry. So when I'm shaking my pan, you see, it is not leaving the pan. The chicken is still stuck to the pan, which tells me that the chicken has not really cooked enough on one side. So as you can see, it's all turned white on one side, and yeah, it's beginning to leave the pan. So that tells me that the chicken is now ready. So all I do at this stage is I'm going to flip the chicken and cook on the second side. And press that down to again infuse flavor into the dish. all the flavor of the rosemary will just get imparted into the chicken. So as the second side is cooking, I'm now going to add in my mushrooms. Now I have got button mushrooms here, lots and lots of button mushrooms. Mushrooms have a lot of moisture content. When you cook them, they really shrivel down and they really shrink. So you need to use a lot of mushrooms. And mushrooms and chicken and rosemary are a classic combination. It works so well. Now also as the mushrooms cook with the chicken, it will begin to lose or ooze out its water, and that will basically soften the chicken and also start imparting flavor. So instead of adding water or moisture or stock into the dish, the natural juices of the mushroom are actually going to create the kind of liquid you need to have to prevent the chicken breast from burning. Now this will take a long time to actually cook, so there is a little hack and there's a little shortcut. All you do is you put a lid on top of your pan and reduce the heat down slightly and let it just gently stew. So what happens, the steam is created inside and all the natural juices begin to get trapped and fall into the pan and soften the mushrooms and the chicken. Okay, time to have a little look. There you are. You see that? The natural juices from the mushroom has been released into the poultry. Also the chicken also oozes out its own juices. And you can see the whole sliced mushroom have become actually quite soft. And that's just about the way I wanted to have it done. The chicken has firmed up, which tells me that the chicken is almost 3/4 cooked. At this stage, I'm going to now add in cream. So I've got single cream. So a generous pouring of cream. And just stir the cream into the mixture of chicken, mushrooms and rosemary. I'm going to bring this mixture to a boil and then add the spinach and mushrooms at the very last. So the cream has come to a boil. I'm going to check for seasoning. The seasoning is going to be very important for the dish because there is no other spice as such or no other flavor except the herbs in that. Salt. Oh, but it has such a nice kind of a mushroom flavor. Very nice. Very earthy, you know, rosemary, garlic, mushrooms, they all work extremely well. So that is bubbling away nicely, and as it bubbles away, I'm going to now add the main punch or the main flavor for the dish, which is mustard. Now in India we use a mustard called as a kasundi from West Bengal, and that's got a nice kind of a vinegary flavor but very piquant and a very mustardy flavor. It's actually quite nice. It's very difficult to get kasundi internationally. So what we try and do is I try and use English mustard, the fine paste. You can also use Dijon mustard or you can get a grainy mustard, which works well. I like to use both because I like the texture of the grainy mustard, but I like the sharpness of the normal mustard. If you don't like the grainy, you can just put a plain mustard, is fine. Again, it is personal preferences. I like to have a nice strong flavor of mustard. So I am actually quite generous with my mustard in my dishes for my personal use. So a generous amount of mustard here. This is English mustard, and then I have the grainy mustard. Again, a generous. This is not very sharp actually. The paste one is actually very intense, but the grainy ones are a lot less intense. It's more for color. These are made out of yellow mustard seeds, and as you can see, it has a kind of a nice texture, and in the dish it looks quite nice as it mixes with the cream and with the mushrooms. So all I do is I mix the mushrooms sauce, cream sauce with the mustard, and then it just melt through into the dish, and it takes on a slightly different color because the mustard begins to lose its natural colors, which is a light kind of a yellowish creamish color, into the sauce. The sauce is almost ready. It's become nice and thick. You see when you put your finger behind, it is a little line. Oh, that is so nice. It's got such a nice mustard kick to it. Got such a nice mushroom flavor to it. and a slight subtle hint of rosemary really works well. Now you could actually serve it as it is, it will work perfectly fine, but I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to add in this some fresh spinach leaves. So I've got fresh spinach, which I'm just going to roughly break up. I don't need to cut them into fine strips, just the rustic way. Very simple, just cut it, tear them apart. Now you think it's a lot of spinach right now, but trust me, by the time the spinach wilts and breaks down, it'll just soften up and get absorbed in the sauce and really shrink, but the flavors are going to be absolutely beautiful. So I would let that gently sit into the sauce till the spinach just softens and mixes into the sauce. The dish is now almost done, and you can see the spinach has wilted up and really softened, but it's still nice and green. I don't want to cook it for too long, otherwise it'll get discolored and won't look really nice. So at this stage I'm going to just switch off the heat. Most times in restaurants people would add tons of butter into this and make it nice and rich and creamy, but I think there is enough cream. I'm not going to add any butter. So just a cream which is flavored with mustard is going to gently sit with the chicken, the mushrooms and the rosemary and the spinach for around 4 or 5 minutes for it to absorb the flavors, and then we're going to serve this dish. The dish is now ready. So again, I'll do a very quick recap. It was basically oil, a little bit of garlic, had chicken in them, had the rosemary, little salt for seasoning, cooked it on both sides, added the mushrooms. So let the mushrooms cook with the chicken and release its own juices, and also the chicken to release its own juices to literally form the sauce. Cover it up to literally help it steam and cook well same time. Then added the single cream and the two mustards, the grainy mustard and the plain English mustard for the nice piquancy and the strong flavor. It also gives a very nice color. And then finally I added my spinach leaves, which I was lightly toned inside, and what you got is a very flavorful and a delicious dish. So time to plate it. Now again, when you're plating food up, try and look at a service way which is slightly unusual and makes it more interesting for your guests to eat. So I'm going to use one chicken breast for a portion, so that's quite a decent size. This is at least 140 grams, and you can see the color. It is nice and vibrant yellow, and you can see the specks of the mustard, and that's what I was talking about, having textures onto the plate, having flavors onto the plate. And then what I finally do is I remove the rosemary on the side and I spoon my mushroom and the spinach sauce on top of the chicken. Little sauce around it. And there you have it. A very simple dish, one pot dish. Make it for your friends and family and enjoy, because this will be made with lots of love and lots of care. And I can promise you, the most important thing is this will have such nice flavors, very earthy flavors, the flavors of mushroom, the flavors of rosemary, the flavors of mustard and the flavors of chicken, and all stewed together into one pot to create this beautiful dish. Me personally, I would love to have this with a piece of bread, a bruschetta, but you can have it with mashed potatoes, you can have it with some rice, or even a base of pasta would work extremely well. But most importantly is for you to like, subscribe and comment on this dish. And finally, enjoy, make it for your friends and family. So until next time, happy cooking.